So part of the motivation, I should say, to draw the portrait series was to help remind people, the people that you hate are the ones that are saving your lives, the ones that are doing everything for you. So I thought the only thing I could do to try and help was remind people that there are strong Asian American people that are out there doing positive things. I'm a graphic designer and comic illustrator. I do a lot of work with clothing, with like t-shirts, do some movie posters. I draw my own comic, and I do my own line of graphic t-shirts. I'm working on a deal with the NBPA in China, the NBA Players Association. So I'm doing like a line of t-shirts based off the NBA players that will only be available in China. I grew up in Fort Lee, New Jersey, which is like right across the George Washington Bridge. And I was always staring at New York. So growing up, it was always like my biggest fantasy to be able to be a working artist living in New York. And I just fantasized about everything about New York, about hanging out at night, you know, shopping downtown, whatever, you know, getting pizza in the city, all the silly things, you know. So New York is absolutely like my number one influence on my work. I grew up like most Asian American kids. We had really disciplined way of growing up. But for Asian parents, they were pretty receptive to me going to art school. I got kicked out of the house for a couple of days, but then my high school art teacher, Ms. Joan D. Terry, came to my house about 4 times to convince my parents to let me go to art school. And since she knew I was such a terrible student, she made me do volunteer work to draw portraits of senior citizens. And I would go to their homes and draw. And she had like 3 newspapers follow me around. And then when she finally came the 4th time to our house, she brought all the newspaper articles to show my parents. And they finally were like, well, he's not going to go to law school anyway, so let him go to art school. So the fact that they let me go to art school, my older brother always reminds me, like, that's pretty wild that they let me go to art school. When I was in college, it kind of dawned on me that there were no Asian heroes. So that was one of the biggest things that I wanted to do. You know, you go to college, at least as an aspiring comic artist, right? You go to college thinking all you want to draw is the X-Men or Spider-Man or whatever, you know? And I left college being like, all I want to draw are Asian people now. And so I actually did this book called Burn, which was a Chinatown gangster story. And I did it with my brothers, and we went to San Diego Comic-Con, and we ended up getting representation for films. And so I spoke to so many different movie houses. And we were talking, the biggest name was Johnny Depp, right? So Johnny Depp wanted to purchase the rights to our book to make a movie out of it. And they called me, and they were just like, hey, Jerry, like, you know, we really like you. We love your story, but this is almost word for word. You got to know, man, you got to know better. Like, the best friend, he can be Asian. The girlfriend, she can be Asian. The bad guy, he can be Asian. But the hero, you got to know better than that, man. He's going to be white. And I was just, and they're like, if you're okay with that, we want to option your story, you know? And I was just like, no, I just hung up, you know? I was so angry. And like, I was furious, but then I was like, what did I just do, you know? So I was going to these comic conventions, and this one in particular was in Philadelphia. And I was just in Artist Alley, which is like a flea market of comic artists. And every day in Artist Alley, you're approached by like, I don't know, 50 people that have this great idea that you're the perfect artist for, as long as you're willing to work for free, you know, it's a great fit. And then one guy came up to me, this Chinese dude, and he was telling me about this great idea. And I was just, you know, oh yeah. I just, you know, whatever. And then he's like, but I want to do a book all about Asian people, Asian characters by Asian creators. And I'm going to work on it with Jeff Yang. I was like, Jeff is the founder of A magazine. He's like, I was like, that Jeff Yang? He's like, yeah. I was like, well, let's do it. You know? So that week, like the next week, we got on the phone and it became a thing. We were going to do this book all about original Asian American superheroes created only by Asian American creators. And then we ended up getting Parry Shen. He's the star of that movie Better Luck Tomorrow. And he ended up becoming our 4th editor for the book. And our book went on to become, it was called Secret Identities. We ended up winning a few awards. We did a second book, and we toured domestic states, like at schools and colleges and museums, speaking about Asian American awareness. This is before social media and all that stuff, before Kickstarter and all this stuff. So we had to do it the old-fashioned way, where we actually got grant money and things like that, and paid all our creators and all that. And we got everyone from like professors to actors to comic writers and artists to like sculptors, photographers to do these original Asian American superhero stories, which was pretty cool. So I used to be an art director for graphic design for kids clothing, but around I think it's about 4.5, maybe 5 years now. I quit because our family owns art supply stores. So I felt really guilty because my father was working 7 days a week with my younger brother there. And my younger brother worked 6.5 days a week. He got literally just half a day off a week. So I thought I should probably do the responsible thing and quit my career and help out with the family business. So I do that during the day, and I try to get home and do my own work at nighttime. Every year for Asian Heritage Month, my friend Bernard Chang and I, we always try to talk about just doing something comic related, because Bernard draws X-Men right now. So he's a pretty well-established comic artist. And we just try to think of some silly way to draw, like, let's draw Iron Fist if he was Chinese the way he should be, So this year I was like, it can't just be drawing Iron Fist as Chinese. Who freaking cares, And I wanted to do something that was a little more meaningful. And I wanted to try and make it the best Asian Heritage Month, So one of my biggest inspirations for it was my friend Fiona Chin. She is a physician's assistant, and she's a new mother. So, we're just working so much every day, and she would come home. Fiona's gonna kill me for saying this. And like, when she gets home, she would just take her clothes off at the door and not go see her son or hug her husband, just go straight to the shower. And, she would shower and everything, then put her clothes on, change, and then come out and greet her, her son and her husband. And then she would call like all of her friends. And I mean, she's got a lot of friends. Fiona I met her back, she hired us to speak as keynote speakers for ICASU at Rutgers University, which is a East Coast Asian American Student Union like meeting. It's the biggest Asian American student gathering on the East Coast. So she's got like gajillions of friends, and she calls them every single day, calls their parents, to put everyone at ease, tell their parents like what to do, how to handle everything, what not and what to do, And Fiona's she's an amazing person. And I didn't know how to thank her for everything she was doing, just not only for me, but for my family. So I was just talking to her husband. I was like, I think I just want to draw Fiona. Like, I think I want to draw her and let everyone know what she's doing, So I was like, what if I just drew some other people? And I was like, what if I draw one every day? I know plenty of Asian people that are doing awesome things. I'll just draw one a day. And I didn't, again, it seemed so cool at the time. I didn't think it takes me like 4 hours to draw one. So I would start so I was waking up like 6 in the morning so that I could finish it before I could start my real day, But it was the best way to start each day, because I was so happy at the end of each portrait, because I just felt good. I felt motivated and inspired from the person I was drawing. And it really, I genuinely, they all helped get me through the stay at home, time here in New York. It was the best thing that I ever did. So that's part of the reason why I did this portrait series. I mean, all the racism towards Asian, it's sickening. It still is sickening to me. Like, you're going to pick on my grandmother, because that's who they're picking fights with, right? And it takes like 4 guys to attack one, old lady. And like, why aren't they attacking me and my friends? Like, we're the ones that are out late at night. What's going on? Like, not that I'm some tough guy or anything, but I'd rather you fight me than that old lady, the nice old lady, So, it bothered a lot of my friends. We were really, I would go out like kind of hoping to get into a fight. So part of the motivation, I should say, to draw the portrait series was to help remind people, the people that you hate are the ones that are saving your lives, the ones that are doing everything for you. So I thought the only thing I could do to try and help was remind people that there are strong Asian American people that are out there doing positive things. And I tried to just do one a day, but I felt like doing 31 wasn't enough. So I just started a little bit early, which is why everyone's like, why just do 41? I just wanted to do as many as I could, you know? I mean, I think the most important thing to me that people will take away from this series, heroes come in all different shapes and forms and sizes and colors and everything. Before you go judging anyone just based on the way they look, before you go judging anyone, just remember, like, that could be the person that's saving your mother. It could be the person that's bringing food to your grandfather, you know? There's so many different people we take for granted. And we just need to remember that there are so many different amazing people. And with Asian Americans, the only reason why I'm focusing on Asian Americans here is because of all the racism that we're facing still. I still think we're getting it, you know? Look, there's a reason why everyone's always joking that Asian people are all doctors. So why would you, you know, like, why are you going to hate all the people that are helping your family? I don't know. I don't want people to focus on the negative part of all this, but the most important thing people can take away from this series is just do something nice every day. If you just do one nice thing every day, everyone's going to be better for it. Yourself, the person you're doing it for, the person that when they go into a room, they'll be happier and they'll be better. You know, everyone that is in that room with them will be better off. Just do one nice thing a day. That's all it takes. That's what I really think. And whatever it is you do, you don't have to draw a portrait, you know? You can do anything you want, as long as it's a nice thing. Even if it's just walking someone across the street, you know? That helped that one person. That's all you have to do. This is just my way of doing that.